thing. Let's see. Chat. Trying to think if there's another way to do that. Oh, do you
You
have?
want to Hello and welcome to this episode of the Portrait Prophet Show. I am so glad that you guys are here with me today, and I'm hoping you can hear me because my audio wasn't working a moment ago and I couldn't hear, but I'm hoping that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can? Yay, thank you. I can't hear you, so it's kind of weird. My audio just stopped working. But I'm so glad that you can hear me. Robin's telling me right now that you can hear me too. So thank you, Amanda and Mark, for already telling me ahead, and now Robin for telling me. Yay! I'm glad that part's working at least. So glad that you're here with me today. We have a special guest with us, and we'll bring him on here in just a moment. But I'd like to bring on Amanda and find out how have you been doing? Has the weekend been great for you, or have you had some new experience that's come up? And remember, I can't hear you.
That's fine. Yeah, so the weekend's been really good, nice and restful. I will say, like everybody else here in San Antonio, I'm sure 100 and something degrees is a scorcher. So hopefully everybody's staying cool out there. I know that's been a little tough, especially for me to get out there and take some pictures of my own. I haven't wanted to get outside because I thought I was going to internally combust. But hopefully y'all are taking some precautionary measures. You're drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated, especially if you're out there taking pictures of seniors as we're closing out, both the college and the high school senior season. So hopefully all of that's going well. Other than that, I didn't get to see y'all last weekend, last Monday, because my husband and I celebrated our 11-year anniversary. So that was nice. We got to stay out at Hotel Emma, which if you've never done a staycation, I encourage you to do that. It's a beautiful hotel, or at least stop in and say hi to the individuals that are out there working. But also, it's such a beautiful space, and they're pretty lax about having people take pictures out there. So if you haven't been out there as a business opportunity to go and enjoy the space and take pictures, I encourage you to go out and visit it and do that, and maybe have a drink at their bar that they have, which is spectacular. It's beautiful. So yeah, that is what I've been up to. Lots of changes here at Digital Pro Lab as well. We've got some new things coming up. I'll go ahead and actually, while Jim is trying to iron out some of his audio stuff, maybe I can just jump right in and let you know at least one of the upcoming events that we already have on the schedule. So we have, along with Camera Exchange here in San Antonio, which is our local camera shop, we put something on every month called Espresso and Edits. And look at that. It's actually going to be at the Pearl this coming June 21st. It's going to be scheduled for 2 p.m. It's generally from 2 to 5 p.m. And we just hang out. We're going to find a nice space, safe space to sit down and actually edit our photo. It's in entire Pearl area has Wi-Fi, so we're going to sit down, maybe take some pictures because it's actually such a beautiful area to take pictures, and then go ahead and just sit, edit some photos amongst like-minded people. So we always encourage everybody to come out anytime that you can, spend time with your peers and talk shop. Everybody's going to be out there. Most of the people that are there are generally going to be content creators or also professional photographers of different sorts. So I encourage you to come out, put that on your calendar. I'll share it again at the end of today's Portrait Profits, but I definitely wanted to mention at the beginning to give Jim a few extra minutes to settle what's going on here. So there's that. Let me just chat with him real quick and see if he's ready to take over. I can see him. All right. Otherwise, y'all just get to stare at me for a while, which is totally fine. Got my lipstick on, so we're good. All right, now we can't hear you.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I don't know if you can
Not
hear
sure
me.
what's going on. I'm having so much fun. Can you tell?
It's all right.
I have no idea how it worked, but I have no audio. I can't hear. So uh, I am going to bring on Mark, and I'm going to rely on him to let me know when he's done with this question, and I can't ask any follow up questions. So, but I do have questions for him, and he's got some great stuff. So I'm going to bring him on. So thank you, Amanda, for filling in the time while I'm trying to figure out the problem. But we get to try something totally new today. Isn't this fun?
We got it.
All right. Well, I'm going to bring on Mark, our guest. Before I do that, I want to let you know that we're having fun no matter what. This is all all of us have troubles that we come across, and we have to face them with a smile no matter what because hey, they're tough. Hey, and this is probably one of the most minor things we've had to deal with. There's all kinds of stuff that we all have to face all the time. So hey, good example. My name's Jim Landers, and my mission is simple. I help portrait photographers just like you make a great income doing what they love. Each week, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. And today we have a special guest. We're doing an interview, which isn't something we normally do. We do have the panel that we do on the second Monday of each month, where we bring in three people and we ask them questions. But this is an interview with someone who's got quite a bit of business experience and loves to share what he knows. He's started several businesses. He's got one now where he helps businesses, especially newer businesses, small and medium sized, helps them to organize and to get things going just right so that you can be profitable, so that you can be happy, so that you can get rid of things that you don't need and add in the things that you do. So without any further, I'm going to bring on Mark Higgins. Hey, Mark.
Hey Jim, I know you can't hear me, but
This is so
I'll
much
count
fun.
I'll count on the audience to tell you that I'm saying thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to be able to talk about things, and
Well,
I'm sure that they'll share that with you via the chat. So
I am
you
so
can
watching your lips to see if you're still talking.
you can go
This is
ahead
great.
and start
So
asking me
um,
questions without the sound.
you're coming to us from a good distance. You're not right here. Most of the guests that we have are relatively close or in San Antonio, Texas, but you're coming from us from a greater distance than normal.
Yeah, definitely quite a bit of distance. I'm actually located in Maine, uh, about halfway up the state, actually. But as a consolation prize, I do have some family down in Texas, so I've got a connection there. So,
Man, I wish I could hear your voice. Well, um, I hope you guys are having fun watching us today. So I'm going to just start by asking you the questions that we had prepared.
sure.
Uh, let me bring that up onto my screen. There we go. Um, would you do me a favor and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you help business owners?
Sure. Basically, as I said earlier, I live in Maine, and I live with my wife and my daughters. I also have a grown son who lives in Hawaii, so sometimes I get to go out there and see him, which is nice. I started my first business back around 2005, and I actually before that I was actually in law enforcement for a decade. And over the years, I've had three businesses. Two of which were very successful by my standards. And I was able to sell those businesses. One of them was a failure, which, you take somebody like me that talks about business stuff, you'd think, he doesn't want to tell me about his failures. But I actually probably learned more from failing than some of the ones that I was successful at. My business is MCH organizing, and it's really completely about helping people and specifically small business owners that are just getting started and helping them with the systems to do that make things run smoother so they can do what they're passionate about.
So I see you stop talking, so therefore I think you're done with the question. I'm going to ask that maybe when you're done, just point at me saying, like, back at you.
Okay, we'll do that.
That way I know. Yeah, but it's the only solution I'm coming up with anyway. All right, so what is your philosophy on planning for the small business owner, maybe even just the one person business owner?
Yeah, I mean, even with the solopreneur, the my philosophy is to start with visualizing what you want it to be, right? And then from there we go into what I call creating a blueprint. And then my third part of my philosophy is you got to stay flexible. Business is not linear; things change. You have to adapt. And when I think that uh, once you get to the point of actually starting to move forward, you've visualized what you want it to be, and you're starting to work in that towards that goal. At that point is where you start getting into the weeds. So you start getting into the making the details of things, and that's what I refer to as building a blueprint, specifically building a blueprint for success. I mean, that's what we want to do. So
Awesome. I'm sure that was incredible. Thank you so
your
much.
audience will tell me if
I
it's not.
and the next question I have for you is, can you describe the planning process that maybe we should consider as small business owners?
Sure. I mean, a business, especially if you're just starting out, you like I said, you got to have a vision. You got to have your where you want it to be, in the future, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And then but when you're starting from scratch, once you've kind of got an idea what your vision is, I suggest actually starting by uh, using your imagination. Start and try to figure out what a week's worth of business would be for you. What's a week's worth of work in your business? All the things that you need to think about, like obviously there's the work itself, which in your audience case is photography, which is awesome. But the other part of it is there's back office stuff, right? You've got to consider things like your bookkeeping, and you're going to spend some time on marketing, and you need to spend some time on social media and all the other little back office tasks that are necessary but not necessarily the main focus of your business. and be as specific as you can when you're trying to do that, and plan out a week. Like, write it down, put it on a spreadsheet, or whatever works for you as far as that goes. And then the next part of that is to actually take that list of that week's worth of work that you think you're going to have, and break it down and create different lists from that week's worth of work. So start by figuring out, what have I got to have for physical items that I need to accomplish that work? What do I need for amount of time? What do I expect each task that I've listed out? What do I expect it to take me for time in a week? What tools am I going to need to complete the tasks that I've figured, I'm imagining in this first week? And that's pretty much, and then, pretty much the concept. And then I actually would repeat that for, what am I going to do the first month? For tasks, because there's longer term things like, what's my goal for acquiring equipment, or for I want to get this done, this extra project done by the end of the first quarter, things like that. It kind of will create a list for you to be able to start really getting down in the nitty gritty of, what do I need, how much time am I going to spend on each thing, and stuff like that. So, Jim, back to you.
I have good news.
You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, that's exciting. That's
Now,
exciting.
I don't know exactly what happened. Robin and Amanda, I think, figured it out. And so I have my cell phone connected, and I'm listening to, I'm listening to myself speak, and that part's weird. But I can hear you, and that's what matters. And I'm excited.
That's awesome. I love that.
It's the little things I get excited.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thank you so much for that. And let me give you the next question. What tools do you suggest to help with business planning?
Sure.
Both physical tools and software tools that you have come across, or you could recommend to the small business owner.
Yeah. So, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, have a space that you're going to do the work in, right? Have an office. Now, a physical office. A lot of times solopreneurs are working out of their home. And, there's an advantage to having a specific place where you're going to do the work of the business, whether it's the bookkeeping, or the, calling customers back and following up on leads and things like that. They're having that office space, even if it's not an entire room, or just an area in your home, or one end of your dining room table. But I find that there's an advantage in mindset to being able to, when I go to this area, I know what I'm going to be doing. This is my work area, so I'm more focused on work. That's one thing, as designate a space. Basic business stuff. Other things for equipment and things, like, you're going to need to have a good printer and scanner. You're going to need to, and I'll touch on this later, but whether it's scanning and emailing documents to sign, things like that, you're going to want something of decent quality, so it looks pretty decent when it comes through. Basic office supplies. I mean, the things that you think you'd need, everything from paper clips to tape to, probably lens cleaners for your cameras. I don't know specifically in your industry what the specifics that you might need, but you're going to want all that type of stuff. If it's possible, I recommend having an area, and it could be part of the office if you have enough space. But if you don't have enough space to do the office stuff and then you can designate a separate area for equipment. Having your tools and storage supplies, excess supplies, things like that. Setting up an area for that, and it can save you a tremendous amount of time. And time is really a very important thing when you're in business. It's easy to get into a case where you're it seems like it's not a big deal that I'm walking over here and I have to spend 3 minutes looking for that item, but as you get busier and as your business grows, that does make a difference. And having a things tagged and having a home for everything, all your equipment, all your supplies, so that when you need it, you know exactly where it is. It's a lean concept, and it's really going to save you money and put you in a position to be able to scale and grow your business, to have that organized and in one spot. um, you know I would also consider the specific tools of your trade, Jim. Like, I'm assuming cameras and all the equipment that goes with that. And you may not have everything you want when you're first starting. You might, but it wouldn't hurt to create a list and of the things that you, in your wildest dreams, that you want to have, right? And then divide your list into, three different categories. The things that are essential. I need this in order to start actually, doing the work of my business. So this is essential. I have to have this. Maybe the should haves. I should have one of these, but I can get by for a while without it. That's another whole category. And then the boy, it would be nice to have category, which, maybe it's something that you're going to achieve after you get some revenue flowing and you've been in business for a year or two. And but you'll have the list, and put it in a file on your desktop or your computer, and you'll have it to refer back to. And someday you'll get to a point where you'll be like, hey, I've got a little extra revenue here. I can invest in the business. What am I going to buy? And you'll have that list to refer back to. I'd also recommend digital signing. I used to have contracts I signed with customers, a physical contract, where I'd have to, if they couldn't do it in person, I'd have to scan it, and then they would sign it, and then they'd have to scan it and send it back to me. There's a great tool called DocuSign, and it allows for digital signatures. So you can set yourself up with DocuSign. It's fairly inexpensive, and you can email contracts and documents you need your customers to sign. They can literally sign it right on their computer, and it comes right back to you. So it saves you time and keeps you organized. I'd also, depending on how your business is organized, whether you're, it might not apply to like a corporation or, some business structures, but especially if you're like a sole proprietor, you may want to be tracking your mileage and dividing out your business mileage, because there's some tax advantages to that. And I use an app called Mile IQ, and Mile IQ is just awesome for me. My accountant likes it, which is nice. And it uses your phone to track everywhere that you go, and it divides out each trip. And then you literally are just swiping it over from either to the business side or to the personal side. And your accountant can use all that information to gain you some advantages at the end of the year when tax time rolls around. I'd also investigate looking at accounting software. There's, some business owners will start with a spreadsheet. It's pretty labor intensive, and it takes a lot of time. There's some really good systems out there, whether it's QuickBooks or NetSuite, Zoho, Sage. There's a lot of good software programs for tracking your expenses and your income, and all the things in bookkeeping we need to do. Take a look at that. You might want to think about how you're going to schedule your clients. At the beginning, you might use Google Calendar to schedule. It may be the simplest thing for you, but there are, more advanced systems for scheduling that if your business grows, you may consider switching to. Honestly, you can get away with quite a bit with Google Calendar for a while. You have to get pretty busy before it becomes cumbersome. I'd consider what you're going to use to keep track of your schedule. Ideally, maybe not on paper, although some people still do it. I'm always afraid I'm going to spill something on it or lose something, or something like that. And the last thing that I'd suggest for tools is take a look. There are some industry specific things in your industry. I doing a little research. There's integrated systems, and if they connect with your accounting system, bonus points, because then it's even easier for you. But like Honeybook is one, 17 Hats, and there's a bunch of others that I found that seem to be industry specific, and you may look at those and determine whether you think it's necessary now or it might be something you add in later. But that's a good overview anyway, Jim, of what I'd look at for tools and items.
Absolutely is a good overview. Thank you so much. That's
Yeah.
complete. If you guys didn't catch all of that, then watch it in the recording and take some notes. Yeah, the industry specific. I like Pixify, Dubsado,
Yeah.
Honeybook, Sprout Studio, Iris Works. There's several that I do really like. Each individual needs to go visit those and find which one is ideal for them. But pretty much any choice they make is a good choice. It puts them in a position that's 10 times better than they were previously.
Oh, for
I
sure. And I like what you said about, it's an individual thing. You've got to find what works for you. I mean, it's your business, it's your baby, and you got to find something that's comfortable, and that's really good advice, Jim.
Thank you. Coming from the expert, I appreciate that.
Well,
That's awesome. Well, I wanted to tell you guys real quick uh, that before I'm going to put this across the bottom, I want you to ask questions and leave comments. And so I want to encourage that. Click that link that's in the top so that it's you see it scrolling across right now, but click that link that's in the top. Don't try to write it down. And that gives StreamYard permission to use your name. That way, when you leave a comment, I'll know who it is. And it'll show that you're actually here. So please take a moment to do that. And I want you to enter in hashtag live if you're watching right now. Now, if you're watching the replay later, enter in hashtag replay. But if you're watching live, please enter in hashtag live as a post. That way I know you're watching right now. Hashtag live. Got some hashtag livers? Good. I'm glad to see them. That way I can say hi. Let's see. Rick is here. Miguel. Hey, Trisha. And Dave. There's several Facebook users that says I don't know who it is. Hey, Ralph. I'm glad you're here. But as you guys hit that hashtag live, I'll know that you're here and I can acknowledge you. So Mark Cruz is here. Glad you're here, Mark. A lot of good people. I'm glad to see you. Well, back to questions. Let me take that off and that off because there's a lot more that Mark has to offer us. Mark, if we get serious about planning, I mean, do it the right way, not stab at it, take a moment here, a moment there, but actually get serious about it. What kind of changes can we expect to see from that effort?
yeah. I mean, this is kind of a little bit counterintuitive. Initially, if you decide you're going to get really serious about planning out systems for your business, one of the things that you're probably going to experience is feeling like you bit off more than you can chew, maybe a little overwhelmed. And that's normal because there's so many different avenues and things that you have to do, um, you know, and the trick is that you want to just take one task or one system at a time and start, either improving it if you're already it hasn't, if you're already doing it, see what you can do to improve that system or task, or plan out how you're going to specifically do it. And as you start going one at a time on those systems, you're going to find that you're opening up blocks of time for yourself. You may, if you're already in business, you may see, hey, I've got extra time today that I didn't expect. If you're planning it, you'll be able to gauge kind of where you can find improvements later. But one of the big things that I work with people on is the concept of waste in a business. And waste is anything that does not add value to your customer. So if there's a process that's happening and it's not adding value for your client, for your customer, it's waste in your business, and it really needs to be eliminated so that you free up that time to be able to focus on the things that help you build the business and help you serve your clients and customers. Um, the concept is a lean concept, and lean is a process that started in the manufacturing world to eliminate steps when they're manufacturing a product. But it applies to everything, including your office systems, um, including, like I talked about earlier, organizing your equipment and your supplies so that you know where they are. And it should be more than just, I know where this goes. It goes on the second shelf in this closet. Well, you want to actually tag it. I live and die by one of the little printer things that I can print out labels with. That way, you may know where it goes, but it's a reminder for you. But eventually, if your business is growing, you may end up having an assistant, or you may end up having, a family member that helps you on certain jobs. And, it's an advantage for them and for you to have designated places for things, so that you can say, hey, Johnny, when you're done, we put the equipment back on the, in the storage closet. He knows where it goes, so that you're not spending hours later on looking to see where Johnny put it. So it's just a matter of tagging things like that. And with eliminating waste, the other thing is, when you find a process or something that you can improve upon and eliminate what isn't helping your customer, at the end, you want to, it kind of gets you into a continuous improvement mindset. And I'm a big believer in, there's always something that can be improved. We do the best we can, but then we have to take a step back and look a little bit higher view and say, what can I improve upon? That continuous improvement mindset is really important part of being a business owner. And and as you go through this whole process I've just described and all the different things, you're going to start seeing your stress level probably come down, even though initially it may go up. As you start to get these systems in place, you're going to feel a little more comfortable with things, a little more relaxed. You're going to know where things are, spend zero time searching for things, which is wasted time. How many hours are you going to gain that you can, and frustration avoidance, how much frustration are you going to avoid by having things organized?
Love that. Give everything a home. Know where it's supposed to be. Don't be looking for the keys.
Right. Right.
Thank you for that, Mark. So, how far in advance should we be planning? I mean, should we be planning what we're doing today, next week? Should we be planning all the way out to beyond retirement? What should we be considering here?
Yeah. I mean, ideally, from the day you start planning your business, you, in a perfect world, would be planning to the point that you're either going to sell your business, you're going to retire and close it down, or you're going to maybe pass it to the next generation. That, I is in a perfect world. Realistically, I mean, that's not going to be on top of your mind on a daily basis. However, if you've got that in your head, like, where is this business going to be 10 years from now? Where's it going to be 20 years from now, when I'm thinking about retiring, or I want to move on to something else? And if you start that thinking about that process at the beginning, you're apt to create systems that have, with the idea of something that somebody from outside your business could come in, and again, that blueprint, right? Come in and look at the systems you have that you've documented, and have an idea of how your business operates. You have to have that kind of in the back of your mind, that long-term plan. Now, day to day, I like to look forward. I mean, every week I look at my calendar and see what I've got going. I might look into the next week, so something like that. But also, I like to look out a month at least and say, okay, what are my goals, right? So I know what I'm working towards growing, or I know what I'm working towards for a revenue number. And it kind of is a game for me. It's like, okay, I'm going to set this goal, and next month I'm going to hit this number, and maybe I hit it, maybe I don't, but it gives me something to work for. So set those goals for yourself, and then I would look longer term too, like look at the month, look at the quarter, and then look at a year, each quarter, and then look at a year out. What are my specific goals for a year? You can extend that out to 5 years. What's my goal in 5 years? Document it, write it down. Sometimes I'll put it up on the wall where I'm working, so that okay, well, in a year I want to be here, in 5 years I want to be here. But putting that visual right in front of you is helpful. And that planning could go out as far as 5 years or longer.
Yeah. Do you think that people are doing that kind of thing and just not well? Or do you think that we as creatives are so excited about the next thing that
Yeah.
we're just planning the next thing?
Yeah, I mean, you get the tunnel vision. I do it too. You especially if you start to get busy. You're like, okay, I'm working on this, and you have to build time in for working on your business, not just in your business. When you're working in your business, you're doing the work, that to satisfy your clients and your customers. But you have to work on the business itself a little bit. So at least once a month, block out an hour and say, okay, I want to look at what I can work on to improve the business, or I want to look at what I can work on to grow the business. Maybe it could be this month I'm going to look at my social media and see what I can improve there, or this month I'm going to look at my marketing, and do that. Block some time off. Actually put it in your calendar so that you're not scheduling clients on top of it. And it takes some self-discipline to do it, because you get the call and you're like, oh, I got a job I can do that day, I think I'll just blow this off. But if it'll pay dividends if you can you know try to stick to a plan where you take a look once in a while at working on the business rather than in it.
So true. And we get bogged down with the day to day stuff.
We do, and it happens to everybody. It happens to me, and I know better, and but it does happen. But you just if you stumble and you haven't looked at anything for 3 months, don't kick yourself over it. Just say, okay, I haven't done this for 3 months. I'm going to block an hour out, and I'm going to work on this project. And that's how you really improve your business. It will pay dividends once you get a system, or a plan in place for something, and it will help you keep operating more efficiently and more productively, and it will grow. It just takes time.
Good advice. Mark, are there some things that business owners are not planning, or we're forgetting about, or we're lacking?
Yeah, I think the first one I kind of touched on. Most business owners, especially at the beginning, you're not thinking about an exit plan. What I'm going to do down the road if when I'm ready to get out of my business. And really good business people kind of have that in the back of their mind, like I talked about before. And the thing that helps with that, for me, is you got to realize the business itself has real value. I mean, there's a monetary value in addition to the joy of doing what you love, right? So if you can kind of keep that in mind, and it gives you a bigger take a step back in that 40,000-foot view once in a while and say, hey, what can I improve on the business itself and the operations of the business? That's one thing that a lot of business owners, I don't think, put a lot of thought into at the beginning. Another thing that business people a lot of times don't consider is right out of the gate, how do I add legitimacy to my business, right? I mean, there's usually competition, and no matter what you're doing, and if you're the new kid on the block, How do I make it so that the business appears legit and not just I'm not just a guy, grabbing my phone and taking pictures of somebody, right? You want to show yourself as being legit. I look for things like specific training that I can advertise that I've taken. Put a something in your website and just say, "Hey, I've done this and I've taken this class." Another uh, great one is if there's a regional or national association you can join. That's a great way to add legitimacy. Put that logo, join the association, put that logo on your emails, signature, and on your marketing material, and scream it from the rooftops. I belong to this national association of photographers, or things like that, industry specific type things. Um, your local chamber of commerce. That's a great one. It adds legitimacy, and most chambers of commerce will give you a digital tag you can put on your emails again and things like that. And you get the additional plus of being able to network with other business people, and you'll make connections for things that will you need, and they're going, once they know you and interact with you, you got a really good chance of them sending business to you. So the local chamber and that networking is a big thing with adding legitimacy to your business. And the last one that kind of comes to mind for me, Jim, is some guerrilla marketing. Now, guerrilla marketing, in today's world, we think of marketing as the websites and the social media, maybe some print, maybe radio, lead generators like Angie or Thumbtack, things like that. Look for those no or low cost guerrilla marketing ideas. I know I have a client that literally put up flyers at the laundromats for his business, and he got business out of it. And it cost him a piece of paper and a little bit of ink from his printer. It's okay to do that type of thing. Do it with a little style. Put your logo on it or something. But do a flyer you can post in something like photography. If I was a photographer, which I am certainly not, but if I was, I would think maybe go to the local library and say, "Hey, would you like to have a free to you display of photographs?" Maybe they're willing to say, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have you guys, you come in and put up your work for people to see at the library," or something like that. Maybe any way to showcase your work that doesn't cost you anything. That's guerrilla marketing. Volunteering for a charity event. Wear your shirt that's got your logo on it, like I got here, right? Stuff like that. Those are all things that get you at top of mind. It gets you a chance to talk to people, and they'll say, "Hey, what do you do?" And you can tell them, and it's a way to market things. And I think that's a kind of almost a lost art today with everybody focusing on the social media and things like this, which are very important, but don't give up on the guerrilla marketing. There's good stuff there.
That's really good. Yeah, putting yourself in the path of your target market. And so
Mhm.
if you feel like your target market's going to be going to some place where there's a good amount of foot traffic, like a library,
Yeah.
maybe a mall or a bank, or just different places where people will come in and they'll be there for a little while. If they're seeing your work and you have something like contact information, I call them an info card instead of a business card that's there that they can take away. uh,
Right.
Having that kind of thing causes them to see you. You're putting yourself in their path. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Chambers of Commerce. I have an example. I almost said North Chamber. And I was in the North San Antonio Chamber of Commerce from 97 to 2017. And I got a ton of business during that time. Ton of business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I met people I would never have met before. And the
Yeah.
movers and shakers, the people you see on the news, the just the people who are they've got a pulse of what's going on in the area.
Yeah. And Jim, that one of the things that happens with that, it's happened to me actually a couple times, is you get interacting with these other business people, and they'll say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And maybe it's not exactly what you intend to do for your business, but you go, maybe I can do that. And that's part of the being flexible, and it helps your business grow, and you become known to those people, and you never know what's going to come around the corner. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's so many good things like that, like alliance marketing, where you're marketing with someone who is targeting your same market,
mhm.
but isn't a competitor.
Yep.
And so using creative ways to be able to leverage their people, their market.
Yeah, absolutely. And even within an industry, sometimes somebody that may not be a they may be a competitor, but they're not doing exactly what you're doing. They're doing something, a niche thing of their own. And I've found that I've been able to, make a kind of an alliance with people that do something similar. It may be photography, but maybe it's not portrait photography or something like that. And you can do referrals back and forth, and that's worked well for me over the years too.
That's huge. Definitely worked for me.
Yeah,
Nice. Well, Mark, what areas of business plans are often the weakest?
yeah. Um, with a business plan, kind of that high level look at your business too. One of the things that I think that often gets overestimated is your initial revenue numbers. We're optimistic, and I love being optimistic, but people tend to kind of, especially if the business plan is really something you're using to kind of get your footing and move forward. You might become discouraged because you didn't, you thought you were going to hit 100,000 this year or something, and you didn't, you hit half of that. And but so I like to kind of aim a little low and then exceed my own expectations. I feel better about it at the end of the day. So that's one thing in a business plan that is pretty weak. Your approach to customer service. You're laying out what your plan is with the, how you're going to, what your competition is, and all those things that go into a business plan. And you know, I like to spell out what my approach to customer service is going to be, just like any other component of the business. Spell out how am I going to provide better value to customers versus my competition. What are the things that are going to set me apart? Am I going to be willing to schedule a shoot on a holiday weekend? Maybe that sets me apart. Or is it, that's when the customer is available. So I'm going to try to get that little niche of market there. And think about things like, will you offer a free consultation? Do you have a no questions asked return policy? All those things. People tend to kind of leave those out of business plans, but I would think about them at least, and ideally kind of get them in there. It gives a better picture of what your real plan is. And then sales and interpersonal communication skills. That's important. Your ability to connect with people is going to really directly impact your bottom line. So think about, are you a good listener? Do you project as friendly and happy and excited about what you do? And here's one that's kind of going down a little sidetrack here, Jim, but do you understand what you are actually selling? And I'm willing to bet it's not portraits. So from a sales perspective, so one of my businesses that I had a fireplace and stove shop. I sold, wood stoves and gas fireplaces and pellet stoves and things like that. And I had installation crews and we installed it and stuff. And so if you ask me, well, what did you sell in that business? You'd think I'd say stoves, right? No, I sold comfort. I sold the spending time with your family in front of a beautiful fire on Christmas. I sold a sense of security because now if the power goes out, I know my family's still going to be warm because the stove works without electricity. I sold security, um, and being able to articulate that to people without being without it seeming like you're being a pushy salesman. That's a really good skill to have. And I mean, I got tons of stuff on sales, but I won't go down that rabbit hole too much further there, Jim. So
Well, that's all really good stuff and things we need to think about because we, as photographers, sure, we create beautiful images, but for what purpose? What end result? Why would someone want this? It's a luxury item.
right.
I mean, having warmth in your home, what that business that you had at one time, there may be some luxury options, but having a warm home wouldn't be in the luxury category.
Mm.
That's a
Yeah,
necessity.
right. And it's figuring out what your customer is, what they're getting from the portrait, right? What's their draw? Do they want a memory of their family? Do they want to make sure that grandma and grandpa are immortalized because maybe they won't be around that many more years? You got to kind of feel out what their need is, and just kind of show them how you can provide that for them. And that's in a no, not a pushy way, just here's what you can do with this. So
That's exactly right. And you've got good suggestions and thoughts and a lot of things for us to think about. And I hope you guys are taking some notes and asking. Again, I want to encourage you, ask questions or make comments. If we've got time, I might even ask a question. I don't know if I will, but feel free to do that. Again, if you're watching live, hit in hashtag live. If you're watching a replay, hashtag replay. So thank you guys for doing that. Uh, Man, there's a couple other things I liked about what you were saying, like the return policy.
yeah,
If someone doesn't like something, we as business owners and creatives, a lot of times will accommodate and try to make whatever they're asking for happen, unless it's just kind of off the wall or it's beyond. For instance, I've got a thrilled guarantee, meaning they're thrilled, or I do whatever it takes to make them thrilled, or I give them their money back.
right. That's
That's the
ideal.
guarantee.
Yeah, it gives people a sense of comfort, and it sets you apart from people that don't have that mindset. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a great story about a company that made two companies that made hamburgers, right? And one company charged 10 cents if you want the pickles, and the other company said, we'll give him the pickles for free, even though they cost us money. The It's something as simple as a customer saying, hey, can I have pickles on that? And you saying, absolutely, I'll love to put pickles on that for you, versus, can I have pickles on that? Saying, yeah, well, you can, but it's going to cost you $1. That turns people off. They feel like you're nickel and diming them. So, I always say, give them a pickle. If it doesn't cost you too much, it's worth it in the long run.
It's a good one. Well, are there any holdups, maybe one or two that cause problems for business owners that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, a pretty common one in business is financing. How am I going to finance the business? And that can be a kind of a stumbling block. Um, you know, New and potential business owners kind of get caught up in thinking they need all of the tools and all the equipments and different, systems and all this stuff to, ready out of the gate, because in a perfect world, we could all afford that. But, don't have a blind spot for different ways to do it, right? It can be done over time. Again, to make that list of what's essential, what should I have, and what would it be nice to have. And you might find that you can get that real number of what can I get by with for right now down a little bit. And that's one that comes up pretty commonly. And think of other ways to besides financing. Some people choose to work a job still, and while they're building their business, and that's absolutely acceptable. And keep that. You got to think about, how am I going to make a living? Keep eating while I'm building this business. That's important too. So you can work on a shoestring budget if necessary. And you just remember, you just, as you grow your business, you still need to live. So don't, be realistic in what you can afford to spend and what you expect for revenues and how long it's going to take that to catch up. It takes a few years before a business really starts making a decent profit. I always figure 5 years for a business before it's really hitting its stride. Now, am I making money in 2 years or a year? Hopefully I am at the end of the year, but realistically, 5 years is my benchmark for starting a new business. If it's doing good in 5 years, I know I'm successful. If it's not, then I know I'm in trouble. So that's one. The other one that comes to mind is, make sure at the beginning you're not missing a federal or a state or a local requirement for licenses and permits. Make sure that you're setting up your business structure correctly, and that if you need to have a permit to do your job, or to work in a certain area of the city or something like that, make sure that you know about it and that you're getting that up front, because there's nothing that will stop you quicker than some official coming to you and saying, hey, you don't have a permit to do this. That puts you to a grinding halt. And it usually takes longer to get it after the fact than it does if you're, doing it proactively. So, make sure you've investigated that. Those are the two that jump to mind.
Yeah, those are good. Thank you. Well, when you begin working with a business owner, I mean, you're helping you're helping business owners, small business owners, medium-sized business owners. When you begin working with a business owner, what are the things that you need as the business planner or the organizer or the coach? What do you need from a business owner in order for you to be effective?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Jim. So when I start working with somebody individually, I want to know what their goals are for the business. Specifically, where do you see your business in a year? Where do you see your business in 5 years and 10 years? And what do you think your number goals are? And I would include, what's your quality of life goals there too? Because when you have a business, you are working a lot. And you have to, balance that find that work life balance. So the goals are important. If you're already in business and already operating, the first thing I'm going to ask is, what isn't working for you? What is it that you can feel your stress level rise when you go to have to deal with it? Or what is it you're ignoring and it's costing you time and, and effort that you shouldn't have to have? So what isn't working, if you're already operating, is a really good question, and something I need to know. And I want to know if you're flexible enough to adapt. Specifically, are you flexible enough to adapt when you find that the business is leading you somewhere you didn't expect? Sometimes when it's leading you somewhere you didn't expect, maybe the right answer after you've contemplated it for a while is, no, I don't want to do that. But sometimes you got to at least consider it. Don't immediately rule something out if the business takes you in a direction, that you didn't expect. And and I'll tell you that on a personal level, when I started doing this, my focus is small business owners, because that's who, I feel like I'm brethren with you. And but I started picking up some residential organizing jobs, which I did not expect. But just because of where I am in my market, they started coming to me, and I've done some of them. It's not my focus, but I'm not ruling them out. I mean, it's again, trying to stay flexible. And then the last thing is this your passion? Is this what you really want to do? because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with starting a business that isn't your passion. People do it all the time. They'll start it and, just to strictly make money and maybe to be able to sell it in a few years and make some more money there. But if it's your passion and you really enjoy the work and the people and your customers, getting you focused on getting those systems in place is in my mind is even more vital, because I don't want you to get burned out on something you love, right? You want to create it, make it as easy as you can to operate.
Yeah, that's the truth. I think for photographers, it's our passion. But a lot of photographers won't get into it as a business or won't take it seriously because they have this fear of it not being their passion anymore as a result of the business side. But usually it's because they haven't taken the business side seriously enough that causes
Right.
the problem, not the photography.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And there's, the creating those business systems, the idea is to make it more manageable, the business side more manageable, so that you can focus on doing the thing you love, right?
that's right. Man, this has been good. Well, we are at the end of this interview, and I wanted to know if you have any closing thoughts or something else that you might want to share with us, or maybe how we can get a hold of you. Maybe there's someone watching today that would like to continue the conversation with you.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, as far as closing thoughts, just building a business is an ongoing process. It's never ending. You're always improving, continuous improvement and stuff like that. But if you can get the right systems in place for your specific business, it becomes a lot easier to focus on the thing that you love, like we were just talking about, and still manage to keep your business healthy and manageable so you can keep growing it. That's kind of the goal that I try to help people with, right? And absolutely. So, everybody in your audience, Jim, if there's anybody that wants to talk to me further, I would offer anybody that is either watching this live, or even if watching a recording later, I would offer you a free half-hour consultation online. We can connect, like this through video. And I'll answer any questions you have for half an hour. It won't cost you a thing. We'll schedule a time, and I'm happy to offer that to your audience. And then, if you want to reach me, you can reach me at my email, which is mark@mchorganizing.com. Or you can just go right to my website, which is, mchorganizing.com. And there's a contact form there. Just fill it out. Just, either whether you're emailing me or going through the website, just put a note in there that you saw it on Portrait Profits, or mentioned Landers Photography or Digital Pro Lab, and I'll make sure you get a free consultation. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Let me make a comment with that address real quick. All right. So you guys in the post, you should see a link to his website. So
Great.
just click on that link and take advantage of his offer. Mark, you're a cool dude.
Well, right back at you, Jim. You are too. You overcame technical difficulties, and I'm highly impressed. So,
You're being nice.
yeah.
But I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for investing your time. I'm going to bring Amanda back on too, because I'm sure she wants to comment.
Hi, Amanda.
Hello. Oh my gosh, what valuable advice you've given. Oh my gosh, I was taking lots of notes. I definitely have stay organized, make sure we have an improvement mindset, and then remain flexible. All the things that I know, me being a business owner, have been very invaluable to me. Staying organized has been the most difficult, I'll tell you that. So I may take you up on your 30-minute offer there and see if we can give you
Absolutely.
some
No
words of
problem.
advice and encouragement. But
No, that's great. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy talking about this stuff. And I especially like it when I get to talk to people from industries that hadn't really ever thought of talking to about before. So it's been great. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Mark. And you guys that are watching, take advantage of this offer. Mark's a great guy. You can already see that. You don't need to have me tell you. But click on that link and take advantage of his 30-minute special deal that he's giving to you. And to mention you saw him on the Portrait Profit Show, or mention Digital Pro Lab, or mention Landers Photography School. That way he knows where it came from.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's probably going to charge you. To be determined. Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks for coming to us all the way from Bangor, Maine.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me, Jim. I appreciate
I'm
it.
going to come visit you sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on up. You're welcome too, Amanda. Come right up
It's
to
too
me.
hot in Texas right now. I'll be there tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Well, that was fun.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I loved everything he said. Everything hit for any business owner. If you're starting, or you're in the middle, or you're 5 year, or whatever, there's something of value that he definitely gave us. So I know me, it's hard for me, and I don't know. For me, it's hard to take the hour and a half out of my day sometimes to do portrait profits. But what we're doing right now is working on our businesses. And, I do that as well through, the interviews that we have, or, things that you're telling us, Jim. So not only am I a sponsor, but I'm definitely a spectator, and just know that I continue to see value in portrait profits. And that hour and a half is absolutely worth every minute that I dedicate to it. And I hope that it's, as useful and valuable to everybody that happens to be watching live or even on a replay. So thank you, Jim, for organizing Mark coming in today.
Of course.
Yeah.
So early on, I noticed that you shared a few things. Did you have some more things you wanted to share?
Yeah. So
Good.
let's real quick. I did want to reshare our promo code. So I've been extending some of the promo codes that we've had because I want to make sure that everybody has enough time. I know we've had some holidays in there. And then, last week I wasn't able to actually join. But typically when we do a promo code, I'll actually show you the product so that you have a better idea of what the promo code is for. So we're extending the one from last week. It's wood print is the code, and it's for 25% off any wood print. So I have one example right here, so I'll just share that real quick. So this is a maple wood product. The back of it comes pre-drilled with holes for you to actually go ahead and hang it directly on your wall. And you can see that the wood, and I don't know how visible it is, but the wood grain is visible there. So it's a different type of product. It's a very unique product. And with anything print-wise, and wood is definitely something we're printing to, consider it a blank canvas. It is 100% yours to add images or words to. You could create vision boards, especially as we're talking right now about setting goals. Some people, especially us in the photography industry, are very visual. I need to put something on my wall that says what my goals are, that show me what my goals are. And I want you to remember that just because we're printing something that typically is used for photography, it doesn't always have to be used that way. And it's your job in our creative industry to see outside of that. And that's what we do at Digital Pro Lab, is make sure that you see the possibilities so that you can actually add a different edge to a product for your customers or for yourself. And I think it's a very valuable product. So I hope that you'll take advantage of our wood print promo code, and let's see what you come up with. So hopefully that's helpful to you. The other thing I did mention was, and I'll bring it back up one more time, is Espresso and Edit. So that's another free thing that Digital Pro Lab does. And we do that in partnership with Camera Exchange. So Espresso and Edits, again, is just a meetup for photographers, content creators, where we come and we just really sit together and we edit whatever we have to edit, whether it's video, photos, learning about some of the different softwares like Photoshop or Lightroom. We just sit together and we kind of feed off of the energy and expertise that all of us have to bring. And sometimes we definitely do talk about businesses and how the industries are going, new product offering, things like that. And of course, with Camera Exchange they love to bring over new camera equipment and show off all of that. So The next one upcoming is here in San Antonio at the Pearl. Most of you should know where that's located, but if not, if you've never been there, we encourage you to come and join us. And that's June 21st at 2 p.m. It's typically about 3 hours, so it should go on until about 5. And then we do have additional upcoming events that we'll be listing here pretty soon. So if you're looking for something else, just hop over to digitalprolab.com/events, or just click on the events button at our website, and that'll show some additional upcoming events. I know we've probably got our photo tournament that Jim puts on every year coming up. I know PPSA has another meet and greet event that they're going to be listing. So we like to list any event that hopefully would be helpful to our networks and our photographers. So stay tuned for that. And then, as always, if anybody's interested in checking out Digital Pro Lab, if you're not familiar with us, just hop on over to digitalprolab.com just to see everything that we do. We specialize in a whole slew of different things, but really we focus on creating printmakers and really educating you and helping you to create lasting memories for your clients. So hopefully you come join us online or you stop by the store. All right. I think we've got everything listed, Jim. So back to you.
Lots of stuff as usual. Uh, we sure do love you and your team at Digital Pro Lab. You make us look like heroes with the photographs that you create for us. And you go so far above and beyond that. I mean, that is all we expect of you, but there's not where you stop. You just keep on going and give us more and more, and it's fantastic. So coming from the, I'm a photographer. I know you're a photographer too, but we appreciate all that you and your team are doing, and we love Isla too.
And she's right below me, right there, sleeping, which is good. Don't wake her up.
Just in case you guys don't know who that is the Digital Pro Lab. What do you call her?
She's our golden
Mascot?
doodle. Yeah, our mascot. We say she's one of our most recently hired employees. So if you actually stop in the store, we've trained her how to answer the drive-through, so she'll peek her head through or actually help you at the front counter and greet you. So she's great. Everybody loves her.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for everything you do, Amanda.
Me too, Jim. Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about what's coming up. Uh, we've got the panel next week, and it's going to be on studio rental. But remember, on the second Monday of every single month, we move it to 6:30 in the evening. So add that to your calendar. Hopefully, it's already there on your calendar. But it's 6:30 in the evening, same place. You just come to the Facebook page or the YouTube page, whichever it is you're watching. That's where you can come back to. But it's at 6:30 this coming Monday. So I look forward to seeing you there for that. And let me. Here we go. Mark said he has a 30-minute session. I want you to take advantage of that, but I want to remind you of my business assessment consultation. These aren't in competition. These are totally different things. So don't think he's got something and it's competing with mine. It's absolutely not. This is something that I'd say do both. But take advantage of that. I think probably most of you have that already, but just click that link or write that down and go to that address and get a free session. All right. And go to my landersphotoschool.com page to see the different classes that are coming up. We've got tons of them. And of course, there's always private sessions available that if your schedule doesn't allow for a regular thing, you can just do one here, one there with a private class. Just go to landersphotoschool.com to get more info. Also, I take a portrait photographer to lunch every single Tuesday. And there's the address right there if you'd like to take advantage of that. We have at least the next month already full, but I definitely want you to schedule that. I believe it's Kristen Lane that's coming to visit tomorrow. They'll be taking to lunch. I don't know if she's watching right now or not. But every single Tuesday, I take a photographer to lunch on me. It didn't cost you anything. Well, gas, time. And those are expensive too. Take advantage of it though. I look forward to seeing you guys. So, as we come to the end of another Portrait Profit show, I want you to take some time to think about your organizing, your planning. What is it that you want? What do you want as a long term? What kind of things are you thinking about as far as ideal world? What do you want to have in your life that may not be here now, or you want better? Focus on those things. Write them down. Now, that doesn't mean you stay focused on them, because those big things can actually pull you down and drag you down. But that's where you begin. You start there. If you're going to go on a road trip, the first thing you do is you have defined where it is you're going to go. But as you're going, you're not thinking about just the location you're going. You're thinking about all of the little things. You're pulling out this little piece, and you're working on that one little piece at a time. You're driving down the road. You're watching the speed limit sign. You're watching the crazy guy next to you who you think might be changing lanes. You're paying attention to the now. But you are going to be able to get to your destination because you've defined it. So let's define the destination and then plan a path to get there, and get on that path with everything you've got. All your passion, all your dedication, all your energy, and a little bit of stubbornness, because you're going to have to push through. Thank you guys so much for being here today. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography through helpful information, step-by-step processes, and action steps that will cause you to deal with fewer struggles, so that you are constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. Be here every Monday to experience a different way of looking at the business side of photography. Thank you for investing your time here at the Portrait Profit Show.